Friday, June the 28th, 2019, and I'm down in Hook, Hampshire, about to undertake Free Walk 84, which is a approximately 12.5 mile walk from here to a place called Winchfield. It's a cracking day. What are we, about 12 minutes shorter than last Friday already? Sunset, that is. And the year is whizzing on. June is almost done. So let's press on. See what this walk beholds. It's about 12:30 already. As soon as you get out of the station, and I wasn't aware of this, refreshments can be had at this Tesco store. Just by the roundabout and just prior to going into the wood, another housing development over the road there. Now hopefully removing myself from civilization for a while. Not much to report prior to this point. About 500 metres in already now. This is the Hampshire and Isle of Wight Wildlife Trust managed Bartley Heath. There's some pylons over there on your right, so apparently we follow those roughly east. Crossing over the footbridge referred to in the text. Decent entree to the walk, but already, as referenced in the notes, I can hear the busy M3 ahead of us. Apparently quite an issue on this walk. Let's find out. Now on the unsurfaced track called Holt Lane, apparently, and as you can hear the M3 just ahead of us, leaving Bartley Heath and its eyesore pylons behind us. Information panel here about Bartley Heath. As I said, Hampshire and Isle of Wight Wildlife Trust. So that's our final glimpse of it. And this is what lies ahead. Spiral footbridge over the M3. Well caged in up here. Rightly so as well. On the other side, take the obvious path to the right. There's the foam mast on my left referred to in the text. And by all accounts 25 metres after this or thereabouts we take a left. Lo and behold, next to the minor cable run is a stile in that gap. Redundant now. You then follow this path between two large fields towards farm buildings ahead. Wonderful wild meadow on my right. Not a flower meadow as such, just been left unkempt, and it's brought out some daisies and groundsel. Butterflies are in there loving it. Nice to see some free range hens around. The M3 noise now starting to dissipate. Crossing over the River Whitewater, which we will do several times today, and the Basingstoke Canal, similar to the walk we did the other week down at Woolhampton. Passing Newlands Farm Shop which has a cafe for those who want an early tea break. And then about to go under the busy 287 as such. Crossing the Whitewater again, crystal clear. No trout here though. I've already detected quite a high style count on this walk, so I'll keep my eye on that. Not particularly good for less able-bodied. It looks like the style used to be there but isn't anymore, so I've just clambered over the gate. No other obvious way of getting across here, unless you open it of course. It's not locked. Also a bit confusing as to how you get out of it as well. Clearly what you're meant to do is continue alongside the edge of the meadow and come out across this stile here. Got the Millhouse pub here. And this water does have trout in it. And some lovely dragonflies and demoiselles. Now entering North Warnborough Greens, and the presence of this cattle grid would imply that we're going to encounter some cattle, although I do believe they're longhorns, which probably won't be interested in me. Their job is to tidy up the vegetation. Passing by the second of the fords mentioned in the text. Unusually for this walk, I've encountered a kissing gate. Onward journey ahead there. We're now on the towpath of the Basingstoke Canal. Take a right here. Omnipresent chiff chaffs are about. This is the ruin of what was Odiham Castle. Got an interesting information panel here. I don't know if you can make out what I'm seeing because it's opaque. But Odiham Castle, all to do with King John. Apparently it's where he hung out prior to signing the Magna Carta. Lots of information panels in here. You can read all about it on Google, I'm sure. This is the interior now, what's left of it. Interesting plaque there commemorating the Magna Carta. And from another angle, and the entrance. So, back alongside the Basingstoke Canal. So this is the end of the navigable section of the canal, apparently, hence the wide turning circle here. For the next 750 metres or so, we're now entering a sort of designated nature area, and there's certainly evidence of that roundabout. Dragonflies, demoiselles and so forth. The canal narrows at this point because there used to be a lock here. It only allowed the water level to alter by about a foot apparently, but that enabled the water level in the tunnel, Greywell Tunnel, about 600 metres of tunnel underneath here, I believe. Allowed that water level to rise, and thus allowing people to leg it with their canal boats through the tunnel. There is now some amazing vegetation of the kind that I haven't seen for a long time, almost like pine needles down there. Obviously they're not. Some kind of aquatic plant. Wonderful. There is the entrance to Greywell Tunnel. Can't quite read the date. It's like 1782, I think. Excuse the wobbling. Tells you the length and all the rest of it. And as you can see down below in the canal, now a rotting mess by the looks of it. Lots of look like lilies of some kind. Anyway, because the tunnel's not functioning now, apparently it's a very important bat roost, as you'd imagine. There is an information panel here about the Greywell Tunnel, built between 1788 and 92. A picture there of a legger. Tough old job that was. Apparently it took 6 hours to get through the tunnel. Some of the bats in there. Natterers. Never heard of that bat. Anyway, Google it if you're so interested. A view back down the canal from a point above the tunnel entrance. Just arriving in Deptford Lane. Fox and Goose over there. Not sure if that's still an active pub, but check it out if you're interested. In fact, we pass it anyway, and it is still active, as you can see. So a possible early lunchtime stop for those that want one. Memorial to the war dead in front of the village hall. Okay, this is the street basically in the attractive village of Greywell. I'm just at the entrance or lich gate to St Mary's, where I possibly will have my lunch. Just check the map. It's around 2 o'clock, I think. Quite a long driveway down to the church, and it is indeed 2 o'clock on the button. So there is St Mary's, rather plain looking church. Well, it is in fact open. So there's a little bonus. Tiny little place. Got the old organ here on my right. And the view back, and that's pretty much it. Entrance door on the right there. Okay, there's no seating in the churchyard, other than one that I passed on the lane up here, and that's occupied, believe it or not. So storm porch it is. Okay, 2:30, lunch has been had. You've got two options now at Greywell Church. There's a shortcut which I believe is through that kissing gate there, referred to in the text, and that field is currently occupied by a herd of cows, so I don't think I'll be taking that one, even if I wanted to. The main route is passing the entrance to the church where I'm stood currently, past the tower at the back and on into Woodland across a boardwalk. It's about 1.5 kilometres longer, but it sounds far more interesting. So let's get on with it. It's going to be a long afternoon, seeing I've had my lunch already. Plenty of water though. Getting a bit cloudier now, albeit wispy. Pleasantly mild though. So passing the very pleasant graveyards, cemetery headstones, etc. on my right. Now going into Woodland. And here starts the boardwalk section amongst willows and a lot of damp ground out of season. Shouldn't be damp today, mind you. Private fishing there on my left. Now, talking of wildlife and bird song, etc., I read an interesting fact the other day. Muntjac deer, apparently, are having an impact on the nightingale population. How that may correlate, you may well ask. But apparently the muntjac disturb the lower vegetation that the nightingales like, and hence they've come up with that conclusion. Quite amazing, really. Another foreign import decimating our wildlife. Lovely brown trout there. Yeah, nice one. Hence the fishing. Very pleasant section of walking here. Far better than walking through a meadow, just to save a few minutes. This would no doubt have made good cuckoo territory earlier in the year. Can't believe it's that time of year when we probably won't hear them anymore, if you get to hear them at all. This year I've heard it 3 times. Twice in the one patch near where I live, once elsewhere. Pretty dire, isn't it? Stood in front of what used to be Greywell Mill. Very pleasant building it is. As you can possibly hear, got the old water wheel in there, dilapidated now, and from another angle and its old mill pond. As you can hear, plenty of sedge warblers in there. I also read in my magazine this week that it's the time of year where the cygnets can't fly, and at least one of the adults is molting, so that can't fly either. And it's at this time of year that they mark them on the River Thames in the upping season, it's now called. It was all to do with marking them for eating back in the day, but apparently the Queen's birds are not marked any longer. There's only a couple of liveries that still do it, and the swanery down at Abbotsbury. pleasantly cool in here, and even in the dry conditions still quite muddy underfoot. Probably a nightmare in the wetter months. At this junction here we take the bridleway to the left. I've since discovered that tall cow parsley type plant, as I guessed, is hogweed, and it's on days like today, warm sunny days, if you brush it, that's when it creates a rash on you, so be warned. Entering the grounds of Greywell Manor. I hope I don't encounter any of these balls with calves. That's a new one on me, Neospora. Then again, I don't have a dog. Only affects dog walkers apparently. Not them, but their dogs. Sorry, I got that wrong. It's Greywell Moor, not Manor. So the shortcut joins from over there on my left. We turn immediately right here through this kissing gate, and luckily for me, cattle are way ahead over there at the top of the field. Sure my luck will run out at some point this afternoon. Onward journeys clearly marked across this field of either peas or nitrogen beans. One or the other. I think it's peas. Views back from whence I've come. I can hear corn buntings not too far away, as opposed to yellowhammers. Skylarks are about as well. Absolutely love to see this wildflower margin around the edge of the field. Attracts so much wildlife, it's unbelievable. Won't be long now before this barley's ready. Well, this time I have had to enter a field of cattle, but luckily they're too busy munching to notice me. Passing the very modern Robert Mays School, which is opposite Buffins Road. I wonder if that should be Boffins perhaps. The view towards Chalk Pit Farm, which is indeed a bit unusual. Well, well, well. Tree down here, blocking the path. I'll have to go on path watch. Right, having reported that tree, this is the giant chalk pit, and a collection of sheds down there. Probably animal sheds by the looks of it. Having come out of the copse, don't take the right path, continue left here. Approaching Odiham's church, and behind me the pest house, which is self-explanatory. Opening hours are mentioned there. Not today, unfortunately. '17th century apparently. Some old almshouses here. The blue plaque telling us all about them, which I shall capture now. So here we are, all the facts about this development, which is, according to a local I've just been talking to, managed in a traditional way for almshouses. Elderly people that live local, and it's managed as well. There's a caretaker on site. That's how they should be. Not like the ones in my hometown where they've been handed over for druggies. Absolutely, completely wasted. And they've smashed it all up as well inside. Terrible. So here we are, All Saints Church, Odiham. Wonderful. So there you have it, All Saints Parish Church, Odiham. Information board here about historic Odiham. Google Odiham, highly recommend it. And in true English style, you've got the local pub, the Bell, opposite the church. Interesting little square, this. Got a clearer version here of that historic map of Odiham. As you can see, there's a Royal Deer Park next to the Basingstoke Canal. Interesting little place. Recommended lunchtime stop there, the Bell and Dragon. It appears to have a very pleasant back garden, but extremely pricey, I would suggest. Check the menu online before entering. Onward journeys through this wooden trellis gate, hidden away in the corner to the rear of the pub's car park. Unfortunately, my onward journey is through yet another field of cattle. Hopefully they'll be as consumed in their food as me, rather than me. So what I did to avoid the cattle was simply retrace my steps to the high street, walk on down to London Road, and the same procedure could be taken not only if cattle are in the way, which they were in my case, but also when it's very boggy. So I'm at the Waterwitch, a chef and brewer pub. Onward journey now is straight ahead over the canal and back down onto its wharf. Seems a bit cheaper than the Bell and Dragon. Interesting bit of history there. Looks like this might have been some kind of off licence years ago. Up for sale now, as you can see. Good canal-side position. So looking towards Odiham Castle direction where I was earlier, and the deer park. And that house that's up for sale has got its own lovely little boathouse down there, look. Shouldn't think that'll be on the market for long. Lovely location. Albeit the M3 noise is very close. That of course could be viewed as a positive for those that need transportation. Anyway, this is Odiham Wharf. Information panel here about the canal. Fast facts section says it all. 37 mile long, etc, etc. Google it if you're interested. Another information panel here about the canal with a map of it. Galleon Marine, boats and barges for hire, and a cafe.
Cheers in a bit, mate.
In fact, the traffic noise is from the busy A287, not the M3 just yet. Although not marked, I'm guessing this is Broad Oak Bridge. Okay, thanks to Pathwatch, I was able to locate myself, and this is indeed Broad Oak Bridge. As you can see, part of Odiham Common. That's not my onward journey into the woodland, but over the bridge itself. Hiring kayaks sounds like a good idea on a hot summer's day like today. That's what these guys have done back down at the wharf. Community information board here about Broad Oak. Onward journeys down this lane. It's not called Broad Oak for nothing. Plenty of oaks about. Okay, I'm assuming this is the fenced in path between houses. Very overgrown. Let's see how we go. Not too bad because it's not too long. It's predominantly stinging nettles, which are bearable. Good for the old arthritis. We've now got 400 metres of pleasant, cool woodland walking. Deciduous, looks like mainly beech. Wonderful. Notice how quiet it is though. Very little bird song. It's the time of molt. A287 over there on my right. Onward journey between lodges ahead there, entering the Dogmersfield estate. That apparently is a man-made lake. The Aragon Hall owner back in the day wanted a lake built, so there it is. Our onward journey straight ahead here. There's the isolated kissing gate here, which you simply walk past underneath overhead power lines. Onward journey straight up here. Yeah, luckily there's nothing out today, or is there? What's that over yonder? Can't tell from here. Unsure what this raised mound here is for. Onward journey's now downhill straight ahead. Butterflies everywhere on the clover. Unsure what it is. Loves that clover though. Just over there on my right, Dogmersfield Park mansion, which won't be visible much longer. Not that it's very visible now, because they've had all these trees planted here to stop people looking at it. And the surrounding estate. Another lake over there. the vista opens up anyway. Another bull up there. He got a startle when I walked past, so I quickly walked on. I was on this enclosed footpath. He was busy munching. He didn't see me, so it startled him, and I did not want to be in the even though it was an enclosed footpath. He could easily push that fence over. Information panel here about the Basingstoke Canal, and this has been provided by the Four Seasons hotel chain. So I'm wondering if this manor house is in fact a hotel now. It would appear to be the case. Yes, it is. It's a hotel, which is why it looks big and modern. Just gone 5 o'clock. 9.5 miles done, a bit behind schedule. This is Tundry Lake, the man-made lake I mentioned earlier. It's actually Tundry Pond, but it's lake size. I believe that to be a reed bunting. Similar call to what I heard down on the Thames Path the other day over at Appleford. Lovely. There are loads of dragonflies and demoiselles, and can't remember what that is. Can't remember what that's called. Darter? No, it's escaped me. I've seen them before, checked them out, and now I've forgotten the name. Odd looking thing. But they're all flying up as I walk along this path. Fantastic. A group of dragon's teeth here. These were installed to prevent tanks invading, apparently. Google that for more information. Dragon's teeth. Strange why they're installed there though. Unless they went right across, but they're right next to the canal. Bizarre. Now crossing Blacksmith's Bridge. There are shoals of fish here. Not sure what they are, but there's a lot of them. Obviously canal loving fish. Another turning point here because of the broad circular. So as I say, that was Blacksmith's Bridge. Now another decent section of towpath walking. There's also some bigger beasts in there as well. I wonder if tench comes to mind. Are they canal dwelling fish? Not my specialism, fishing. Anyway, some big old beasts in there, no doubt pike as well. Another reminder of times past here. towpath's been renovated here. I wonder if this was a section that they lost a couple of years ago. Burst, apparently. Just make out the tower of Dogmersfield Park, All Saints Church there. Get a better view here across this freshly mown hay meadow by the smell of it. Just notice these distance posts are measured in kilometres. That'll have to change shortly, I would have thought. Back to Imperial. So this is the section that was damaged by landslip by the looks of it. Start of anyway. 2013 I believe that was. Yeah, this is it. You can see it's all been patched up there. You never know what happened now. But clearly the path's been repaired as well. Lots of work gone on here. Looks like loads of rhododendron on the opposite bank. Pretty enough in May, but still a pest, an alien. See, that's what you get with these Victorian manors. Loads of this evil weed. Interesting way marker. Now passing under the Barleymow Bridge, 1792 approx. And how times have changed, eh? No longer commercial traffic. Residential houseboat over there. Some nice properties on the opposite bank as well. Well, there's the bronze horse sculpture referred to in the text in the garden of the old thatched cottage, which hopefully I'll be able to see better in a minute. Clearly someone from the racehorsing fraternity lives there, I would have thought. Wonderful. Very pleasant setting. Stacey's Bridge was rebuilt sometime in the 1900s, but I can't make out when. The walk notes refer to it, no doubt, as will Google. Anyway, we leave the towpath at this juncture, up this short flight of steps. A parting view from whence I've come, from Stacey's Bridge. There's a road deer there, I believe, hiding in the grass. I think it's roe as opposed to fallow. Can't really tell because I can't see its spots. Anyway, it's not comfortable being there, out in the open. Now following a broad path through more woodland, this one being Hellet's Copse. Bit more bird song in here at the moment. Lovely splash of colour there. I wonder if anyone can identify that plant. It's about 10 foot tall. There's its leaves. And it's in a woodland, obviously. St Mary the Virgin Church comes into view as we pass another freshly cut hayfield. Lovely smell. So there you go, and the tiniest of kissing gates here. Which has got some sort of inscription on it. Somebody's birth date, 77 to 98. So he didn't live very long, 21. So I'm in the storm porch, and unfortunately this one is well and securely locked. Very pleasant church. Unlike the lunchtime stop, it's got plenty of seats in it as well. I wish the lunchtime one had. Wonderful location. So there you have it. Thanks, Brigadier. Very appropriately, as a RAF helicopter flies over. Might be a Chinook by the sounds of it. So there you have it, St Mary's, Winchfield. Dare say back in the day that would have been the village school. Either that or the vicarage. I'm following the main route back to Winchfield station. There is an alternative version, but I'm walking along this lane and following the main route. Looks like Hampshire County Council maintain their verges correctly as well. Just a metre for health and safety purposes, no more. Plenty of wildlife and vegetation left behind that. So this road that I'm walking along for 700 metres actually comprises part of the Brenda Parker Way, which I've read about recently in the South East Ramblers newspaper. This is a possible refreshment stop for those that miss the train, like I've just done. Got 25 minutes to wait. The Winchfield Inn. It's a free house doing both accommodation and food, pretty much opposite the station. Okay, 12.8 miles I've recorded, and 5 3/4 hours later. Not sure why I was so slow today. Could have been the heat, but I don't think so. That walk is a very good one for a day like today when it is hot, and there's lots of shelter. It's low level, it's easy going, so it's perfect for the sort of day we had today. Canalside walking, wonderful. I thought it was a very good walk once you get away from the noise of the M3 and the A286. Even now as I speak at Winchfield station, I can still hear the M3 in the background. The hum is never far away, but there are parts of the walk where you do get away from it. Anyway, decent day was had, very good weather, pleasantly warm and with a cooling breeze. Perfect. As I say, very good walk. I like that, lots of woods. I like the Canalside walking, particularly when it's wooded. Get a double whammy there. So free walk 84 completed. I could have just got the train now. The 1835 was running 5 minutes late, but I'll wait till the 1905, have a cup of tea here while I'm waiting. So until the next time, and on.